All right, guys, welcome to Office Hours. So today we're going to look at something that's been a point of confusion, which is sending quotes or invoices or orders to more than one person at a time. Um, the reason this is confusing because there's specifically for orders and for quotes, there's this concept of signatures where you need to tell ProLine who you need a signature from on the quote. So like let's go take a look at Laura here. So if we go to a quote, so we'll go to this draft quote. So we have the signing request. Now, this is separate than sending it to multiple people. And that's where the point of confusion comes because we have this system for multiple signatures. So if you do need multiple signatures on a quote, you have the ability to add additional signers that are then required. And they're going to receive the additional signers are going to receive their own notification, their own email, um, specifically with a link for them to go sign their area on the quote to sign. So there's a specific system for this that automatically is sending them something that is separate from the main primary signer link. Now, if I go into this quote and we'll wait for this to generate and then send quote. So you'll see down here additional signers. Once the primary signer has signed the quote, the additional signers will be notified, and then they'll sign the quote. So this whole system works around those multiple signatures. And so if you do need multiple signatures, you can use that. However, if you're just looking to send this quote to more than one person, you're not going to be able to do it up here because there's limitations around sending text messaging to more than one person. Until we have group text messaging, then that might be possible down the road. But the way to do this currently is you go into edit email, and then you can add as many people as you want as CC. You can add just regular email addresses as CCs. You can add additional users in your account. You can add contacts. You can search. This is going to pull up the other contacts associated with the project. So if there's like maybe a spouse that's associated with the project, that's going to come up and be really easy for you to add in. But you can also just type something in if you wanted to, or you can go look up somebody else in the account and go add them as a CC on this email. So adding additional emails to the CC is the way of sending something to multiple people at the same time, sending out a quote. We added this. This system can be used for all emails in ProLine, so it's a very flexible thing that just allows you anytime any system in ProLine is sending out an email, you can add in additional people that are going to receive a copy of that notification. So they'll be able to access the quote, view the quote, even fill in information if you have forms on the quote or form fields on your quote. We're about to launch some form field stuff that's more flexible. You already have a custom form builder for quotes. So if you need them to just like go in and fill out information, you can CC in a public adjuster or another the spouse or whoever you need to CC in to get a copy of that, even if you don't need them to sign. Again, if you need them to sign, then you need to put them in the signing requests because that is a different system and a different process. But as far as just sending this out to multiple people, you can add as many CCs as you need to. Now, this works not only for quotes, but it also works for orders, for example. So if I go to send this order, this email has a CC area, so I can add CCs to orders, and I can do the same thing with invoices as well. Now, invoices I think are a little different. Let me see. So invoices, well, yeah, it is still one. So it is just the same. Yeah. So you have now you can send invoices out. We allow you to switch out the person you have here for an invoice because invoices don't have that signature component, so it doesn't matter. You can just change it right here. But we can't allow that on the orders and on the orders or on the quotes because of that signature component. But you can add in as many CCs as you'd like here and send this out. So if you want to send this to, you want to send it to the contact, and then they have like a billing department or something, maybe it's a property management company, you can CC as many additional emails as you need to onto this email to pull in other people that need to receive that. And so that is how to send orders, quotes, and invoices to multiple people at the same time. Um, Pretty straightforward, but it is a little bit buried there in the edit email, and so it's definitely a point of confusion. I see some questions here, so we'll address these. Um, Marquise asks, how about sending multiple customers their own separate contingency agreements? So this would be done inside of different projects. So if you have different customers, then you wouldn't do that within one project. So you would have, well, but it depends. Like maybe it is one project, but you have multiple parties. I've never heard of a situation like that. But if you did have that, you're welcome to create as many quotes as you want. So you can use our quoting system to generate a contingency agreement, and then you could have that. Now the inside of this quote area, you have the primary signer is going to be the main contact. Yeah. So if you're having to send it to different people, you're going to have to use different projects. That's really the role of a project is to determine who that contact is that is going to receive any quotes from this project. So um, you would just need to be using pro different different projects, and you can have as many projects as you like. Um, Follow up here, it would be all different projects, but sending out contingencies faster in a bulk type of send. That's a really interesting idea, like be able to select multiple projects at the same time and bulk generate quotes within each project and then send. Really interesting idea. I would put that on the idea board and we'll work that in and if that's something that a lot of people want, we'll definitely get some system together for it. But um yeah, definitely a super interesting idea. So yeah, you can go to ideas and roadmap inside of the menu here. It's going to open up the ideas area. You might have to click login with ProLine, and then you'll be on the idea board, submit idea, fill that out. I would select, quotes here as the tag. Make sure to just add as many details as possible, and then that goes straight to our development team. So that'll push it. I don't even really tell the development team what to do at this point. It's really them looking at the idea board. I give my feedback on stuff occasionally, but primarily everyone that uses ProLine has direct access to our dev team through the idea board. Are signatures a requirement for orders? Signatures are not a requirement for orders, but you can certainly turn them on. I believe yeah, so this by default, most order templates are not going to require signatures, but you can turn this on even on a one-off basis. So you can say either vendor require a signature from the vendor, or you can require a signature from vendor and the requester. So vendor and requester would be you are sending this to your subcontractor, for example, not a material order, but this would be used typically for a work order. Um, for vendor and requester, um, what you are doing is you're going to send it to your subcontractor, for example. They're going to sign it, and then it's going to need to be countersigned internally. So it allows you to have and you have order terms here, so you can put in a full legal agreement into your order, and then you can get signatures and, if needed, counter signatures from that external party as well. So fully support signing on orders. But definitely not required. In fact, by default, it would be turned off. But you can go into your order templates and go to orders here. And if I always want to collect a signature, I could turn on, you see order, is it order agreement? Yeah. I could turn this on by default. And so this is now always on by default in for vendor only or for vendor request or for any orders created with this order template. So lots of flexibility here on whether or not you want that to automatically get turned on and whether or not you want it, um, whether or not you want those signatures. Um, orders can be sent to, so this is the whole thing is you can put in so with orders, it's only two signatures. You can collect signature from the vendor and or you can collect a signature from the vendor and the internal requester. So you can have it's up to two signatures. We don't offer unlimited signatures on orders. Because there's not really a use case for that. It's like generally you're getting there's a outside party and then the internal party that you're sending that order from internal to external. And you need up to two signatures, a signature and a counter signature. You can send these orders to as many people as you need to. If you need to send these orders and you need to include lots of different parties, you can do that by editing the email and adding in all the CCs so that this is the function to send this order out to as many people as you need to. And then you can just add as many different, you can add 20 emails if you want to. You can send it out to 20 different people. These are two different systems. There's the system that does the multiple signatures, and there's the system that allows you to send these things out to multiple people at the same time. And that's the CCs on email. If you need multiple signatures, then you use the signature systems for that. Um, Another question here. Can you have multiple recipients by default, or do we have to edit and add users each time? You do have to edit and add users each time if you want to add in other recipients. You that if you would like us to add in some sort of default CC, it's definitely something that's doable. That's another good feature idea to add to the feature board. And our dev team will be doing a round of improvements on orders probably later this summer. And so if you can get that onto the idea board now, even if something doesn't, so the way the idea board works is if something gets a lot of votes, then we're going to prioritize it. Like we are the next things, we just checked off like a bunch of things here at the top of the idea board. So these are like the next highest votes. These are things that we're currently, so this is already live. I don't know why it's showing here. Um, Yeah, that one was already live. But these are like the next big things that we're going to look at. However, when we're updating something already, so like multiple signings on tasks, when we build this, we're going to go look at all of the ideas, regardless of votes, that are related to tasks. That's why we have these topics down here. So you can select tasks, for example. We go and look at all, or the dev team goes and looks at all the relevant ideas and sees like, would any of these fit in if we're already doing this part? Can we go ahead and do some other things too, even if they don't have a lot of votes? So, yes, getting more votes is going to probably make it happen faster, is going to make it prioritized, especially if it's a large ad. But it's always, even the small things, like put it on the idea board because it will be looked at. If we're already working on a feature, we'll go look at all the ideas regardless of votes. Um, all right. Any other questions that you guys have? Thanks for those questions so far. If you guys want to drop it in the chat, or you can drop it into, there's a Q&A section as well, and at the bottom of Zoom. So either one is fine. I will hang out here for a few more minutes and see if you guys have any other questions. All right. So question here, I spelled the contact in a project's name wrong, and then even after I corrected it, it's still wrong in the signature field area. Yes. So when you generate a quote, we're locking in a lot of information. And it's not practical or performative for us to monitor all of this different information and then update all the quotes automatically. So there is going to be situations, that's one of them is going to be like contact's name, where it's not going to then update any of the information on a quote you already have generated. You can generate a new quote and that will have it, but you might have already made changes on your existing quote, which would then make that hard. There's one way that you can always overcome this, and you can always just change the name of the quote template or of the quote. So if you add something, click out, and then remove it, that is always going to force all of the information across the entire quote to update. So if I look at this right now, so it's like not it's not a bug. It's just like these things happen and we can't really monitor all of them in a way that would make sense without really weighing the system down a lot. So it's just situations that come up sometimes. So like Laura Jones here. So now I'm gonna go in and I will I'll view this and I'll change the name to Laura Jones 2. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back in here. Now, actually, it might have already updated it. So that did update it, um, but it didn't update it here. Okay, so that updated, but not here. Let me see. Jones. So let me see if that would have changed, were to change it. Mm, okay, that is actually a bug then. The signature, it's the signing requests are a separate object. So I'll pass that to the dev team, and we'll look into that. So I guess the only solution currently with the way it's currently set up is you would have to generate a new quote, which totally makes sense why you would want to do that. I think that if you were to duplicate I want to say that if you duplicate it, it's going to preserve pretty much everything about the quote. And the new version, well, I already changed the name back. The new version should have the updated name. So that would be one, that's like a short-term solution is duplicate the quote. But yeah, we'll get that fixed. That should be a small change to get that fixed. So thanks for bringing that up. All right. We will wrap up there. So thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for the questions. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time.